Are you tired of feeling run down and exhausted? In our fast-paced world, we're often surrounded by toxins that impact our well-being. I provide holistic solutions designed to detoxify your body and environment. With cutting-edge AO voice scan technology, we identify the root causes of your discomfort or dis-ease, making personalized healing easier than ever. Start your transformative journey towards a healthier, toxin-free life, because at White Sands Self-Care, your well-being is our priority.
Most people aren't broken. They're just dysregulated. Chronic stress, pain, anxiety, and burnout aren't mindset failures. They're nervous systems stuck in survival. I'm Leland Holgate, combat veteran and neuroscientist, and I created the Welcome Home Method to help people rewire their nervous systems with breath. To go deeper, visit thewillfulwarrior.com.
Well, welcome back to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross on E360 TV, where we bring you conversations designed to educate, inspire, and empower. And today I'm excited to welcome Roby Flynn to the show. Roby is a cardiac nurse, a young entrepreneur, and a CEO of CardiaCare AI Solutions. Through his work, he is helping transform healthcare by using artificial intelligence and automation to reduce administrative overwhelm. And so providers can spend more time focused on patient care and meaningful human connection. Roby brings a unique perspective from both the clinical and business worlds, and today we're going to explore how innovation, technology, and purpose can come together to create a healthier future for both patients and healthcare professionals. So, Roby, welcome to Mindful Mondays.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here today. Before we dive in, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into the healthcare and the entrepreneur world.
Yeah. So I throughout high school, I was thinking, what do I want to do when I grow up? What do I want to be? And I was always in and out of the hospitals, with my grandparents throughout my teenage years, and I had seen the nurses and how great of care they took of my grandparents. And I wanted to emulate that in a way, and I wanted to help people and return the favor. So that's what led me into the nursing world. And then to get into cardiac nursing, my father, when I was a senior in high school, actually ended up having open heart surgery. And then, I became obsessed with the heart after that, how to take care of him, if something like that were to happen again. So that's how I fell into cardiac nursing. I've been doing it now for 4.5, 5 years. And then towards my middle 20s, I'm 27 now, I was like, man, I think there's more out there for me. I would like to go down the route of creating a business. And I was keeping my mind open to business ideas and just thinking, what do I want to do? What can I be passionate about? And I just kept hearing so many of these patients. So I work in a cardiac cath lab area, recovery. So we deal with both outpatient and inpatients. And a lot of our outpatients would say the same thing, They try to call the office, no one answers. They can't get a hold of anyone. They had no instructions before coming in. And it just really kind of ruined their experience of the care. I mean, once they were physically there and got their procedure and recovery, we took care of them and everything was great. But I think everything leading up to that was really frustrating for them. As AI, started to emerge and it's really becoming truly a very helpful technology, I was like, well, I think there's something here that I can address. And so I built this company, and we have this technology here. And the goal of it really is to be an asset to both the physician and the patient as well. And the goal of it is to, like you had addressed, reduce administrative burden on the physician or the practice, as well as improve the patient experience. And what that really looks like is it would be it's called like an AI receptionist essentially, and it's an AI-powered tool that goes ahead and answers these patients calling in after hours or when there's like a surge of calls for the practice. So the goal of it is not to replace any people in their office. It's really just to help increase and improve the patient experience as well as reduce the burden on the doctor. because a lot of times after hours, if they can't get a hold of anyone, it's going to a voicemail if it goes anywhere at all. And then these patients aren't being heard, their needs aren't being met, and they truly, then you lose the status of care, and these patients just ultimately end up getting sicker as well. So
Yeah.
that's basically what we do there.
Yeah, because I would think, when especially going through something, it's already stressful what you're going through, having major operations like that. And then if you can't get a hold of someone, can't get your questions answered, then that elevates like everybody's stress. The loved ones that are trying to take care of them, the patient themselves. It's kind of like yeah, it's a cycle that's kind of hard to break.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone wants to be seen and heard. And even if it's talking to an AI, it sounds totally like a normal person. And then that AI, is able to then summarize what they need or want, send it to the doctor. The doctor can then call them back, address their needs quite literally almost immediately.
Yeah.
A lot of these practices, they close at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and they're only open Monday through Friday. We know patients, well, what if they're out of like a blood thinner medication that's pretty crucial for them at 6 o'clock? The pharmacies are still open at 8, 9 o'clock. The doctor can then get that message after hours and still write the script for them so they can go pick it up in their meantime.
Yeah, because I know we even have some that are open 24 hours, depending
Right,
on where you go. Because otherwise, yeah, you're kind of stuck if something comes up and you can't get your, medicine
right.
refilled.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's quite the undertaking, though. So is that kind of just kind of seeing and witnessing all of that and being ingrained is what inspired you to pursue both? Because that's a lot. Nursing is a big, heavy demand, but now you've added entrepreneurship to it as well.
I did. I think I'd like to put too much on my plate quite often, and I'm a new father now too, so I'm burning the candle at both ends here. But yeah, I've come to peace with my nursing career, and I'm ready to truly be a full entrepreneur. Um, as much as I love nursing and helping everyone out, I think that this can also impact a lot of people in more of a way than I can working 3 days a week and having 4 patients a day. I think this could truly benefit a lot of people in the grand scheme of everything. So
Right.
that's where I want to head now. Still currently doing nursing and working full time while also trying to work on this business as well. But hopeful by the end of the year we can make the full transition over to just being a full time entrepreneur and fully working on this company and with private practices.
Yeah, because you and I both know in the self-care world that you have to take care of yourself or you're not going to be good to anybody,
Yeah,
especially your newborn. And you can only burn the candle at both ends for so long.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you. Yeah,
yeah. So as a cardiac nurse, though, you've seen firsthand the pressures healthcare professionals face. What do you think? You mentioned a couple of them, but what are some of the biggest administrative burdens taking that you think takes providers away from that patient care?
I think in terms of my world and the cardiac world, we have one doctor who they all have their days they come in to do their procedural work. Then this other doctor, I mean, he's great, does tons of procedures the days he's there, and then he's managing, I think, 60 or 80 patients himself on the side of that. So I mean, his office hours when he's not doing procedures are, I mean, the guy's working 24/7 essentially, and I don't know how he does it. He's doing all the calls, the patient follow up, learning about these new patients, while also following up with patients post procedure, managing medications, managing their cardiac care, managing that between their primary. A lot of these people in the cardiac world too, they don't just have cardiac issues; they also have other comorbidities, kidney issues, diabetes, that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff tends to go hand in hand, and it's a lot to manage. They should. The goal of a doctor is to take care of a patient. It's not to do all this crazy administrative work. And I know some practices they have people in place of that, but what if that person calls out, or what if they're overwhelmed and super busy, or they're on vacation? This is also a way to help truly unload a lot of the workload on everyone inside the practice, so everyone can be more focused, hands on. The person checking in can worry about getting you checked in and how are you doing today, having a conversation with you, and not having to worry about the phones blowing up. All these emails are coming in. So that's the goal there. The doctor can just come in. He already knows about you, your history, what's going on, and everything's already taken care of. That deletes a 5-10 minute conversation, and you can get right down to the meat and potatoes of what is really the problem at hand.
Yeah, and I can tell you firsthand that cardiac is not the only doctors that run that way.
Yeah,
Because my fiance gets his eye injected, and this one doctor is one of the top nine. I mean, oh yeah, he's just boom, 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 bounces from room to room, and yeah, sees I think sees upwards of 40 something patients like in a day, and it's like it's just insane
that's a
hours.
lot. I don't know how you manage that many people's health because I mean you'll just get everything cross confused. It's impossible to know that many people on a personal level. You
Yeah,
know,
you would think you really have to rely on the information being given to you to make sure you're on track with that person.
right? Right.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of past the old days where we used to be able to sit there and have time and, pass night pleasantries and go because there's just, so much going on. But
Yeah.
and you mentioned it a little bit. So many people worry that artificial intelligence will replace human connection in medicine. And you mentioned a little bit, but how do you see AI doing the opposite, helping to restore the heart of healthcare?
Yeah. So I think AI is great at doing certain tasks, and I hope we never see AI ever taking out the human role in any way, shape, or form. However, I view AI as a great tool to assist people to then help, like we talked about, save them time, improve relationships, increase, just their ability to be able to actually truly take care of people. AI isn't meant to diagnose. It can't read. It's not. It should not read an EKG and be the last person to have a deciding factor on that. You need that doctor there still. You still need these nurses, these techs at the bedside. You still need the people in the office to truly have that human connection with these patients coming in. Because I think once you take away that human connection, you're opening up Pandora's box, and that's never the goal here. And I hope that AI is only ever a great tool for these people to utilize. And I know some of these doctors now are using AI for generating their notes. That helps save them a ton of time from typing them. Um, you know, this AI receptionist ideally saves them a ton of time. It can do all their scheduling for them, summarize messages, send it right to their inbox. Just really just help streamline a lot of these problems that are going on, so that everyone has more time, and just the whole process is just improved really.
Yeah, and I've spoke with one gentleman that's actually very well versed in all the multiple different AI because we have so many AI platforms out there. You can't possibly, you almost can't possibly keep up with them all. But like you said, don't call it artificial intelligence. I mean, it's learning from us. We're the ones programming it. But
Yeah.
like you said, I think the better word for it is a tool, and
Mhm.
it's a fantastic tool when it's used properly. Know that it has its limitations, but
Mhm.
it's to me, it's almost no different than talking to a person. You can ask a person and get their advice, but it's still or their insights, it's still up to you to decide what's right for you and make that decision. So it's not to trust it blindly, just like you wouldn't just trust someone else blindly. You'd
Right.
ask questions, get some answers, and then do what feels right for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just in a lot of areas in the world, it is improving a lot of great things. I mean, you got to think when the internet came out, people were very skeptical about that, adopting that. There is even Y2K. Um, so I think AI is very similar field. People are scared of it because it's new. It did take some people's jobs, and I think those people are mainly in like the tech like sector of everything, something that AI is pretty much meant to and built for. However, I don't see it touching healthcare and replacing people's jobs.
Yeah.
I think AI is going to be the point where it's like, oh, you don't incorporate AI. It's like, oh, you don't have a work email or an EHR for your patients. It's going to be just something so mainstream like that.
Well, and it can kind of be argued that it's creating jobs. It's not taking away jobs. It's creating jobs because you need people to run the AI and figure it out or start it. Like you said, it's a tool.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it is taking jobs, but at the same time, it's also creating jobs. I'd imagine that, all the big thing in the news right now with AI is all these data centers are trying to pop up everywhere. And as harmful as those could be, and I hope that there are some rules and regulations based around that, but you need people in that building to run the place. That creates jobs. So it's a give and a take, really, at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
It's like everything since the beginning of time. There's always something that can be taken too far or used for bad and not necessarily for good. that's been ongoing ever since we've had computers. We've always had hackers. You can create all the
Yep.
security and systems you want. There's going to be someone out there that's going to learn how to beat it. It's a never ending
Yeah,
never ending cycle. So
absolutely.
yeah. So, what are some of the most impactful ways automation can help private practices operate more efficiently and reduce that burnout? I mean, you've mentioned the note taking and stuff. Are there some others that you're designing the system for or that you can think
Yeah.
of?
So the 5 highest impact areas that we see are first, I like to make mine after hours and oversurge call coverage. However, this could be something that could be adopted to truly like a 24/7. Let's say, for instance, to use an example, what that would look like, it would be someone like a solo therapist practice, right? They're seeing patients from 9 to 5, pretty much back to back to back. However, I'm sure they have other patients calling in. They can only probably get to the phone in between quickly in between their meetings that they have. This would be like a great tool for them to utilize to help do that intake while they're also working. So then by the time they do have time, it's the end of the day, here's their email, everything summarized for them, patient, their what they needed addressed, are they new, the appointment's booked for them based off of their schedule. Um, it's grouped into their schedule so they don't even have to worry about making the appointment. It's already booked into an open slot. They get a summary and then they can call the patient back. Hey, saw your note. This is what you want to address at this time. Sounds good. We're looking forward to you there. This is what I need from you or something. Rather than getting the voicemail. Okay, now I have to call this person back. Set up a date and time. They got to check their calendar. You got to check your calendar. Establish all that. So that's one part. Also, the AI answers every call, books appointments, routes urgent concerns, day or night. I've built our AI to it answers the phone and it says if you're having chest pain, shortness of breath, stroke-like symptoms, or any other medical emergencies, hang up and call 911. And if you tell it, yes, I am having this, then it'll go ahead and hang the phone up. But it, so if it doesn't do that, and let's say a patient's like, hey, I'm having some chest tightness or something, then that is then flagged as an urgent message sent right to the doctor that they're associated with, or to really the whole practice. This depends on how big it is. Then someone's immediately calling, like a real person is immediately calling them back up, because the AI is not meant to diagnose and triage, but however, it can pick up on certain things that need to be escalated and addressed. And when a patient calls in having medical emergencies, the doctor still gets notified, hey, this is what this person was having. So in the world of cardiology, for instance, if I was a cardiologist and not one of my patients called and said, hey, I'm having horrible shortness of breath and chest pain, it feels like an elephant sitting on my chest. Okay, I need you to go to this hospital, take a full dose of aspirin. If you have supplemental O2, go ahead, put that on. If you take any nitroglycerin, go ahead and put one of those under your tongue. So then that coordination of care is already done. By the time you get to the ED, everything's taken care of for you. The doctor's already called the ED. All the labs that you need drawn are already going to be laid out and taken for you, and they're probably going to get rushed right to the cath lab, would be my guess. So that's another way it can help also increase the patient experience. We also do, on the other end, we do outreach. So, appointment reminders, that helps reduce no-show reduction. That can be very frustrating for these practices when you book out a time slot and no one shows up. Maybe they forgot. Maybe no one messaged them back up and followed up with them. Hey, you have an appointment today at this time. Are you still planning on making it? Yes or no?
Right.
We also build the AI customized for each practice as well, so it would know the insurances they take, who's available, what doctors are taking new patients, what times are available, any general FAQs, where it's located, how to park, do you have to pay for parking, all that good stuff. We touched on this too. If a patient had labs drawn and they got the results, but they don't really know the interpretation, let's say their glucose was high, but they don't know that that can be attributed to being diabetic. They can call in, tell the AI what they want. I need a refill. I need my labs or my test results discussed with me, explained further. Okay, that summarizes it, goes to the doctor, and when the doctor has a moment, he goes ahead and calls, hey, saw your blood work, this is what it means, this is what we need from you, yada, yada, yada. And then the last thing we do, this is aside from that, but also reputation management, automatically requesting reviews from satisfied patients, which directly impacts how new patients find the practice online, and also any pain points that patients are having with the practice that they can address and improve as well. So that's the things that really I'm utilizing AI for with my company and to improve the patient experience as well as providers' time, really.
So, question, because you had mentioned like if someone calls in saying that they're feeling that shortness of breath, the tightness in their chest, that the
Mhm.
AI, tells them to call 911 and hangs up on them. Is it possible for the AI to just say, "Can I call 911 for you?" and make the call instead of adding to that frustration that, I mean, because depending on what kind of state they're in, right? They may not be
Right.
able to necessarily hang up or call 911.
Hmm. So that's where it gets into like a legal gray area
Okay.
because legally the AI is not meant to diagnose and triage. However,
But I mean, but if it asks the question, if do you
yeah,
want me to call 911 and the person says yes because they can't hang up and it could call.
it can be made. It can that's a good point. It could definitely be made to then redirect that number to 911, which is another great thing you can do. I mean, there's so many capabilities of it, and it's as people have more suggestions or ways they want to make it better, improve it, change it. It's very like mendable.
Well, sure, something, because you can't always think of every scenario or things, you're going off of your knowledge, your experience.
Mhm.
Everybody has, different experiences. And so I would think all of that would play into that as well. But no, I mean, I would think that would be phenomenal for one, for making it easier for people, as long as it's not one of those ones that, kind of gets stuck in those loops where it keeps asking the same thing or it doesn't understand that,
Yeah,
because that just gets, that gets frustrating as well. It's like, I just
it
want to talk
does.
to a person.
Yeah. So, and a lot of that goes back to the build behind the AI. I mean, you really have to know what you're doing in terms of building it so that it doesn't get stuck in those loops. Also, for these AIs, they should always be built to be able to get around and always reach a person if you need, as long as there's a person available. Um, that's to address your point there.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you see that, how do you see if it's gonna be freeing providers from the repetitive back office tasks and it's gonna improve both patient outcomes, um, and the overall healthcare experience, how do you see things, or what is your hope for things to go, you know, um, as far as the health and stress for the providers as well as for the clients, right? Because that's like we were saying, they back themselves back to back and a ton of things to do, which has got to be building up stress on themselves as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think patient satisfaction is directly tied to how heard and cared for they feel. And this starts before they even walk through the door. Like we talked about, when a patient calls at 8 p.m. and actually gets an answer, even though it's from an AI, it sounds very natural. The reminder comes through and they remember to show up. When their intake is handled smoothly and their provider walks in already knowing their history, that makes the patient feel valued. It's saving that doctor time. And that's just not better experience, that's also better care in the grand scheme of everything. On the outcome side, consistency matters enormously, especially in cardiology. Patients with heart conditions who follow up consistently have dramatically better outcomes than those who end up falling through the cracks. The automated sequences make sure that those touch points happen every single time, not just when someone remembers to make that call. And from a business standpoint, happy patients write reviews, refer their friends and family, and stay with the practice long term. And it's good for medicine and for their practice business simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And of course, you and I both we're always hoping that people can holistically or whatever improve their health where this is not necessary. But when it does come to this, you need those systems and plans in place. So for healthcare professionals that are watching and who feel overwhelmed by technology, what would you say to them to help them to see that AI as a supportive tool rather than as something that's intimidating?
Yeah. So I always start with this: you don't need to understand how it works. You just need to know what it does. We built this AI receptionist so that from the provider side, it feels like having an incredibly reliant front desk team member who never calls in sick. They don't get overwhelmed. They're handling every call with the same calm consistency, and you don't need to be technical to benefit from that. I mean, I think everyone today pretty much knows how to use their email, and what this does is it kind of just wraps everything up in a nice little gift and puts it right in their email for them. It also tells them, in terms of urgency, how urgently do you need to call this person back? and it'll be flagged if it's something super urgent. I also tell them, you already use technology you don't fully understand, like an EHR system, for instance. Those can be incredibly confusing. Your credit card terminal, your scheduling software, but you trust those tools because they make life a lot easier for you, correct? This would be no different. And we do a live demo so they can hear what the AI sounds like on a real phone call. They get to mess around with it, and then they can see the benefit of how it truly works and how incredible it can be. They can see how it books appointments, and usually within 5 minutes, the conversation is just from like, "I'm pretty nervous about this" to "This is pretty incredible. How can we implement this into the practice?" And I think a lot of times too, it makes them feel better knowing that, hey, I'm not here to take your front desk lady's job. I'm here to make her life easier. So when she comes in at 8 in the morning, she doesn't have 20 calls, she's voicemail she's got to listen to, or from the call center that was answering overnight. Everything is, like I said, just nice and wrapped up for them. And if there are emergencies after hours, because people don't have heart attack between Monday through Friday 9 to 5,
Yeah, your heart attack's not on a schedule.
yeah, their on-call doctor is there to then get those messages as they come in. So
Yeah. No, it's phenomenal. I mean, I've been introduced to a number of them for mine, and some of them I was like, so glad I discovered it because it makes your workload and your work so much easier. And then that way it helps you to be present for, your family and the other things that you want to do besides running a business.
right.
But what are some common misconceptions about AI in healthcare, and what do you wish more people understood?
I think the biggest misconception is that AI is here to replace clinical judgment, and it's not. Not in healthcare. It can't. No AI is diagnosing the like arrhythmia, like we talked about. No EKGs. That ultimately that belongs to the doctor. It's a great tool to go ahead and say, hey, this is what it looks like to me. But ultimately, it's up to the doctor to decide what it is. And I've seen, when we print out EKGs, it reads one way, and the doctor, no, it's another. There's still the human aspect to it. Or deciding, your treatment plan. What the AI can do is handle everything around clinical work, so that clinical work is protected. And the second misconception is that it's expensive and complicated to implement. Most practices assume like this is an enterprise technology that kind of only really can belong to hospital systems who can afford it. But we work with small practices and get them fully live in a month and a half, if not sooner. And the third one, and this is especially important for holistic and wellness practitioners, is that the AI is cold. People think it's going to sound robotic and transactional, but actually, with all the development that they've been working on these AI receptionist voices, it does sound natural and warm and consistent, and it doesn't lose its patient with a confused patient. It doesn't lose its patience with a confused patient. It doesn't snap at someone who calls 3 times in a day. In many ways, it's just more compassionate first contact than an overwhelmed human front desk person on a Monday morning. So
Do you find it's fairly good at picking up on like different accents or the way, people speak and still kind of understand fully? Or is it, I imagine that's still developing, but
it's still in development. There's definitely been a lot of progress made there. So there's a few tools out there that are very good at picking up accents and languages and things like that. And then they're also working on having it in multiple different languages. So I'm sticking to just English for right now.
yeah, I was going to say, well, I know in the US, I know Spanish is always a good one to add because, of course, we have that too. Because I know we've all had the frustration of, push one for English. It's like, no, this is English. People get frustrated with that too. But then again, we are the melting pot and you have a lot of different people. So it'd be great to get people the support that they need and be able to understand it and not have that missed communication because of a language barrier or different cultures. But
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, while it is good at picking up on it, it's just like a human would too. Sometimes you just can't really understand what a person's saying, and that there's always going to be that aspect, AI or human or not. What it can do though is, if it's having a difficult time, it would just go ahead and forward the call to an actual person.
Yeah, it definitely happens with humans, humans as well. And sometimes instead of getting frustrated, it's better to just say, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question, or I'm not understanding what you're trying to ask me, and see if they can explain it a different way. But
Right. Yep.
yeah. So, as a young entrepreneur, what challenges have you faced building a company in the healthcare technology space, and what lessons have you learned along the way?
I think the biggest challenge is really just trust. Healthcare is a high stakes, deeply personal industry, and decision makers at practices, physicians, practice managers, CFOs have been burned by technology vendors before who overpromised and underdelivered. Also coming in as a young entrepreneur, it's pretty hard to get credibility quickly. People still see me as a kid, I'm sure. But being a nurse is actually does definitely helps with the credibility. A lot more of these practices actually trust me because I speak the language and I know their headaches. I'm not just some tech guy coming in looking to try to make a quick buck. Like, I'm truly here to try to improve everyone's experience with this. And now that this technology is available, it's just great. And I think one day you'll be calling a practice and you may not even know if you're talking to a human or an AI. And it'll just be that great, and it'll just take care of everyone's problems. Yeah, and the lesson I've learned is I've got to narrow my focus and lead with proof. I started broad and I got nowhere. I was really looking to just implement AI into any company. My father owns a pool company, and I had done some work with him. No longer is he a client of mine because I was just like, one, I don't have the passion for this. Two, it's just so difficult dealing with family, and you got to pick something like a niche and just stick with it. And me coming from nursing, cardiology, I decided private practices is definitely who I want to help and impact and learn because I already know so much about it. Um, and that's when the doors started opening and talking to more people that I'm actually wanting to have conversations with and wanting to work with. So
Yeah, well, and that's a good business lesson right there, right? Because there's so many of us when we go to be entrepreneurs and people ask you, well, who are your clients or who are everybody? No,
right,
everybody's really not. And to know, but like you said, you're passionate about it. You have experience in it. You can speak the language. So,
yeah,
yeah, definitely a good place to start. So that's what you mostly work with right now is the private practices.
yep, private practices, and really because this technology can be tailored to really any of them. We don't just stick with cardiology practice or internal medicine. We really try to help out whoever we can, from a solo therapist practice all the way to a multi cardiology location, system. So,
So who are you looking for most to start? I mean, you already have some clients now, right?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
working on, we're always looking to add more. And really, whoever is interested in implementing this and could really benefit from this and truly doesn't have the time to answer these calls, or just want like a backup system for after hours overflow, this would be a great thing to help them out.
Yeah,
I mean, truly they want it just 24/7. It can be implemented for that as well.
definitely. So looking ahead, how do you envision the AI, let's just call it AI because it's not really artificial intelligence, but this tool transforming the future of healthcare over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
I see like three major shifts. First, proactive care becomes a norm. Right now, healthcare is largely reactive, like you and I have talked about before. You get sick, you call, you wait. AI will enable practices to monitor, remind, reach out to patients before their health really starts to deteriorate. Like imagine a cardiology practice that automatically flags patients overdue for a specific test and reaches out the schedule before they end up in the ER. That's not science fiction. That's something we can actually build today. Secondly, access expands dramatically. I think a small practice in a rural area will be able to deliver the same communication quality and responsiveness as a large healthcare system who can't afford to have a person in every single role, because AI levels the playing field. And third, the burnout will drop. So physician burnout is at crisis levels. You hear all the time that these doctors are being overworked and there's just not enough people going into the medical field to replace them or to really help reduce that burden. Um, and AI handling the administrative load will help keep more good providers practicing longer in medicine. I think in 10 years, I believe AI will be the standard in medical practices as EHR systems are today. And the practices that start building this infrastructure now will have a pretty significant competitive advantage to stay in practice and not get swallowed up by some of these larger corporations.
Yeah. Do you see it maybe smoothing out like some of the process? Because I know, and I'm I'm more holistic, so I don't hardly ever go, but I've taken family members and stuff that I've had to go through. And it's always so frustrating because they have you fill out your whole history and all of this, and it's in a computer, yet they want you to sit there and refill out every time. It's like, okay, is anybody even reading this or looking at it? And you feel like it's never even looked at.
Right. Yeah. And it's, and that could be something that's solved in a quick 5-minute phone conversation that the AI just does all that intake for you. So by the time you show up to the practice, you're not sitting there filling out 3 forms. It's all populated into their EHR, and the doctor has already looked you over before he's even meeting you, which would be
Yeah.
great.
Because I
Rather
mean,
than
normally when you get there, you're already not feeling well. So who wants to read all this small print and try and fill in everything and and yeah, because I've seen patients too get frustrated. It's like you already have this, and you're just, and especially
yeah,
when you're talking about the heart, if you're elevating their stress, well, that's not going to be very good for their heart either.
no.
Yeah. So, what do you see? Are you're a solopreneur? Or you have a team of people that are doing this with you, or
It's me, and I have a person who we work together on building all the technology for this. Yep, I am the face of the company, and it's just me and one other person right now. We're hoping as we get more clients to expand. Um, yep, we're just small time business right now, but hoping to change that.
well, yeah, and everybody has to stop at start somewhere, and
Exactly.
absolutely commend you, for doing that and for seeing a need and using technology, blending that together. I think you're off to a fantastic start. Where do you see the company growing to?
I would love to be in almost every single practice possible. If this is something that is truly helping out patients and improving patient outcomes and helping these doctors, and I would love for it to be able to be accessed everywhere and be able to help out everyone. So I don't want to stop at 5, 10 practices. If it means I could be in every single one, then so be it.
Do you ever see it going from like private practices out to the bigger hospitals, companies?
I could, yeah. I definitely want to stay with private practices for now.
Yeah.
They're also entrepreneurs that haven't been swallowed up by these huge healthcare corporations. And I don't want to see them go away because I think that they provide a different level of care than that these massive conglomerates really do. I think as a patient, you can tend to get swallowed up in those big healthcare systems.
Yeah. Now your website, the CardiaCare AI Solutions, that is the best place for people to connect with you.
Yep. They can shoot me an email too. It would be rflynn, Flynn spelled FLYNN, at cardiacareaisolutions.com.
So I have to ask, how are you doing with everything? Because you got a lot going.
I do. I'm just chugging along. I'm very just try to get everything done throughout every day. When I actually have to be in the hospital, I'm out the door at 5 a.m. and I'm not getting home to 7:30. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do on those days. But my wife has been great taking care of her kid, doing the night feeds, and I can get everything else done around here from cutting the lawn to cooking our food to doing our dishes to running this business to doing CPR on someone having a heart attack. So my plate is definitely full.
I was gonna say, make sure you don't have one in your one yourself. And then in
Lord,
the
I hope not.
so,
My
what
biggest
do
fear.
you do to reset and take care of you?
Yeah, I like to work out. I like to be outside. Just being with my wife and my son is a great way to decompress as well. We try to keep ourselves when we do have the free time, watch movies together, spend time together, just do whatever, hang out on our back porch, cook together. So
Do you ever create like what I call non-negotiables, non-negotiable time or boundaries? That do you set that aside to at least make sure you have that time, or how do you
um,
handle it?
she's pretty good about not always needing free time. I'm always if she needs to go somewhere, do something, spur of the moment. Okay, sounds good. I'll take the kid. Do whatever. She just went and got coffee with her friend. So it's just little things like that. We don't set a certain time or day. It's just like, hey, I need this right now. Okay, sounds good. Go ahead and take it. I'll do what needs to get done. we're pretty good at balancing our problems out together and just talking them out and not really letting them become like true problems. So
Yeah. Well, that's an important part too, because you have to have an outlet. You got to be able to get that balance,
yeah,
um,
100%.
but you got a lot going. So, if you could, I mean, we still have plenty of time, but what do you want to leave the audience with today? With one message about innovation, healing, creating more time for what truly matters, what would it be?
Yeah, this is it. Technology should always be in service of humanity. It should never be the other way around. The goal of everything we build here at CardiaCare AI Solutions is simple, and that's just to give healthcare providers more time to do the thing that only humans can do is show up, listen, and truly care for them. If we can use AI to protect that space, to remove the noise so the signal comes through clearly, then we've used innovation exactly the way it should be used. To the people in your audience, Laura, whether they run a practice, a clinic, a studio, anything, you got into this field to make a difference in other people's lives. So don't let administrative tasks overwhelm you, steal that time from you. These tools exist to truly help these people. And to anyone who cares about the future of healthcare, I mean, that's it. It's not about machines. It's about making more time and space for human connections, not take away from them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you often have conversations with either people that have experienced something that they like to see changed as being the patient from a patient's perspective or from the healthcare? Do you ever meet with them to get more input? I mean, where do you, besides drawing from your own experience, where do you collect on how to improve your system?
Yeah, I'm actually in like a pretty massive group of other people in who own AI solution companies, everywhere from healthcare to real estate to home service businesses. I mean, you name it. And we have like kind of like I would describe it kind of like it's kind of like a LinkedIn, um, but it's just like just the people in the group, and they post their wins and their flaws, and hey, this is an issue I'm running into. How do you get around this? How's anyone who's had this problem done this before? So it's a great community to be a part of to really address like ongoing problems, and everyone's found a solution for it at some point. And if they haven't, people are willing to help work it out with you. So it's been great.
Yeah. Have you ever tried doing surveys or anything to get from like the average person of what they feel or what they have experienced, what they see like change? I mean, I know that could be overwhelming, but then it could also be some good information for you.
No, yeah, I mean, I have thought about it. I haven't done it yet, but I definitely need to start asking these patients that I have, hey, I own this company and I want to just get your input. I think you'd be surprised at how many people would be willing to talk to an AI if it was truly just to do those things for them, and it would answer for them. Whether it's a person or not, if they're getting their needs met and addressed quickly, I truly don't think they would care whether it was an AI or a real human. Now, if the AI is not built well and it's stumbling and it can definitely cause more frustration than good for sure as well. So
Yeah.
you got to know what you're doing, use the right tools, always stay up to date. I mean, man, it's like a gold rush out there with all these people creating all these AI companies and all these new tools that are coming out. And the one yesterday is, like a stick compared to a real weapon compared to the one tomorrow. So it's constantly innovating and it's just getting smarter and smarter. And it's been great. Yeah.
Well, that's technology, that's computers, everything. I mean, they're always constantly evolving and constantly growing. I always got a
Mm-hmm.
kick out of, people that get freaked out, like say about the automatic, vehicles. Vehicle do this, this, and that. I'm like, you've already been getting used to it. If you think about it, you've had
Yeah.
cruise control. You now have a camera. So instead of turning your head to look, you're trusting a camera.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, and they've all done these little things. It's like it's been slowly integrating. It hasn't flat out taken over the wheel, but it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the same thing.
There's actually a new company. They're in some major cities like San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, but it's called Waymo, and basically it's an Uber, but there's no one driving it. So you get in this car and it just drives itself. It's wild.
Be nice to sleep, but I don't know if I'd sleep real well because if it takes time sometimes, like even trusting, somebody to do that. But
Yeah.
But I would say you're probably in the perfect position because right now you're still working full time, right, as a cardiac nurse,
Yep.
but hoping to go to full entrepreneurship. You said by the end of this year. So
Yeah, that's the goal. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So has people at work been supportive of you or helped give you feedback there, or is
Yeah.
it
Well,
something you don't really discuss there because of gray areas?
at first, I wasn't telling them about it. Um, but then once I had gotten back from my paternity leave, I had opened up and told them about it, and they all thought it was great, and they all think it would be a great way to implement into these practices. And they all have their stories of, oh yeah, I tried getting this appointment, and I couldn't get a hold of anyone, and it took weeks, and blah blah blah. I've talked to some of the doctors. I met with one of the practices. Unfortunately, where I work is a hospital, and it's part of like a healthcare corporation. So um, I quickly learned that there's a lot to that versus dealing with like a private practice. That was like another reason that I wanted to stay pretty much private practice for now as well. Less of a headache. You're not dealing with like a whole legal and IT team trying to implement this.
So there's probably a lot more red tape when you have the bigger, yeah,
Yeah, yep. So
yeah.
one day. But right now, just focusing on private practices.
That is, I think it's incredible. I think it's a great idea. I love seeing people that are just, you know, getting started and you're working on your plan B while you have your other one, but it's also something that's filled with passion and a drive to genuinely and authentically help people,
Yeah,
and help relieve that stress.
yeah. That's always the goal. I think I wouldn't want to run a business if it wasn't helping someone out in some way, shape, or form. So
Any lessons you've learned along the way here so far that you want to share with anybody?
I I've been doing this. I started this company in the end of January, and I remember doing like these podcasts and talking to these people in Zoom. I didn't grow up in like a corporate business world. I didn't was like I knew what Zoom was because of COVID, but aside from that, jumping on these calls, I felt really uncomfortable at first. There was a lot of personal growth that had to come along with that, and you gotta be comfortable doing the uncomfortable if you truly want to get to where you want to be in life. Nothing's really handed to you. Even the people who win the lottery end up going broke again, typically. And nothing should be handed to you. You should want to work to have a better life, to do better things, to achieve your goals and help the people out that you want. It should suck. It should be part of that process, and you should be uncomfortable because ultimately that's how you grow and that's how you learn lessons and that's how you build wisdom. And you're not really living life if you just stay within your little comfort bubble. And that is definitely something that I've had to come to peace with and grow from. So again,
Yeah.
another thing too, I'm terrified of heights, terrified of flying. I met my now wife, and she loves to travel. I mean, she's been all over the United States. She lived in Hawaii as a travel nurse for a couple of years, and she was like, if this is really something that's going to work out, like this relationship, like I'm going to want to travel. I'm going to want to be with you. You're going to have to figure out how to fly. And man, I remember our first flight was to Boston, and it's a quick little flight from here, 45 minutes. And I cried my eyes out like a little baby because I was so scared, but I did it. And I've been on probably 15 flights since, and it gets easier every time.
Yep. Yep. It's definitely doing the uncomfortable to get comfortable, but at least you're willing to grow and to do that. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be. So,
Yeah, and there's a whole world of people out there from all different countries, different you can get
yeah,
so many different perspectives from people. So it's not as bad as you think. And really it too, if you're really that uncomfortable, it's not much different than a phone, like you hang up a phone if you want to just hit
yeah,
end meeting,
yeah.
but
If you really want to, you can always quit, you know. But I mean, I would at least rather say I tried and failed than, hey, I wish I had done this. So,
yeah.
I hear that too often from people like, oh, I wish I was your age again so I could do this. Like, I don't want to have any regrets. I want to do everything and take the risk, take the little bit of the gamble. As long as I'm not putting anyone in harm's way, then I'm willing to try it out at least once.
Oh yeah, you and me both. And I have learned to that failures are not failures; they're lessons learned. It's
Exactly.
only failure when you don't learn from them and you keep making the same mistake over and over.
Yep. And that's also called insanity.
I always love that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and thinking you're going to get a different result. It's like,
Yep.
if it hasn't worked yet, it's probably
Probably
still
not.
not going to work now.
Yep.
And if you're staying stuck in your bubble while the world keeps changing and progressing, you're going to get left behind.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we got about 4 minutes left, Roby. What would you like to leave everybody with today?
Yeah, I think just keep an open mind. AI can be scary, but I think it's really here to serve, not replace for the most part. Take that leap, take that gamble, and see where life takes you. And if
Yeah.
you have a private practice and you want to implement this, feel free to reach out to me. I can go over everything, give you a free demo, show you how it all works. So
Yeah, you can do the demo over online form or yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I could be on a Zoom call. They just tell me their number. I just type their number in, and go ahead and click send, and it goes ahead and calls them. And then they can on their end ask whatever questions they want.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, technology is great when you can use it.
it is when it's used properly.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time and sharing that with us because, like I said, our hope is that people don't have to be in hospital or practices in the first place. But when you do, it is nice to have those systems and stuff in place to, take care of that and not add to your stress because it is supposed to meant to help you and not add to your stress and your health issues.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So thank you, Roby, so much for sharing. Anybody that is in the healthcare professionals, or if you have a private practice and you want more information or a demo of what Roby has built, definitely reach out to him. And as you can see, he's very knowledgeable, he's very passionate about it, which is a big part. I think that's one of the most important parts is the passion. So definitely reach out to him. So thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful Monday and a wonderful week, and we will see you all next time.